Okay.
So, Carl, give us some SummerSlam. One of the big four,
So,
Carl. One of the big four of the year.
four shows.
Stuff always happens here. We always get surprises, all sorts going on. I'm sure it was an exciting one. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, sure it was. So the pre-show, I didn't watch it, but it was the US title.
How
Apollo
annoying
versus MVP
that
again.
the US title is a pre-show fucking match.
I mean, what's worse, that being a pre-show match or the IC title just being SmackDown, not even making it onto the pay-per-view?
I don't know why, but I feel like that's less disrespectful than putting it on the pre-show. I
Maybe.
don't know why. It just feels it.
But yeah, so that was the pre-show, and Apollo Crews retained, so he's still the US champ.
I know neither of us saw the pre-show, but I think that was the right result. I'd have been annoyed to read that MP took the title again. That would have really got my goats. I'm glad they've given Apollo the run with the title at least, even if he only ever fights MVP.
Well, yeah, like hopefully he's going to move on to something else, surely, but we will see. Then we had the first of Asuka's challenges for the titles. The first one was against Bayley, of which Bayley retained. So Sasha kind of moved her out the way from taking a hit, and that led to Bayley being able to pick up the win. We got the Street Profits defending against Andrade and Garza for the Raw tag titles, with the Street Profits winning. So good to know that all that wasn't in vain, all these weeks of shit. Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville in a loser leaves WWE match. Mandy was the winner. Shock horror. So Sonya has to leave. We then got Seth Rollins versus Dominic via a street fight. And sorry, I've just seen the note you put in here. So Anthony, the genius that he is, has put Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in a street fight for the custody of Murphy. I could have got behind that, like that would have been amazing.
Although, I think a funny little jab at the past would have been good, because Rollins was all about trolling Ray anyway, so it would have been like something. It would have made me laugh.
God, the amount of fucking Eddie love that they gave in this fucking match, my God!
I can't believe he's trained. He's trained Dominic in the way of saluting Eddie every 5 fucking minutes, isn't he?
Honest to God.
Again, totally love Eddie Guerrero for those. Like, I'm not being disrespectful to the man. It's sad that he died at the age he did, and he was an incredible wrestler. But we mentioned it before, but I really don't like the constant mention of him by Ray. It's like,
no,
Eddie's always there for me. It's like, yeah, stop milking it, Ray. Sorry, go on.
Definitely. But yeah, so Seth Rollins has retained custody of Murphy in this match. He still is Pappy. Then we got the second match of Asuka against, this time, Sasha Banks. And she was able to she was able to recapture the women's title from Sasha Banks. So keeping that record alive, Sasha Banks unable to successfully defend a title in her first match, as per every other title she's had.
He's got an Undertaker-like streak, almost.
We then got Drew versus Randy Orton for the WWE title, and Drew McIntyre retained. Thank fuck for that. It was a very good match as well. Enjoyed that. And then the main event of the evening was Braun Strowman taking on The Fiend for the Universal title. And we've got a new champ. The Fiend is the winner with some shenanigans post-match. So,
with a clean win, though. Well, there were shenanigans, but a clean win, so that's good.
A clean win.
No bitchy Braun.
No bitchy Braun. In fact, I think he will still find something to bitch about, but we'll get there.
No, he doesn't use words. He'll just be like, "Roar!" And you're like, okay, Braun. Okay. Braun smash!
So the highlights then for the show. So I think we've got to start off with Drew versus Randy. Great match.
What a match. Do you know what I loved so much about this match, Carl? This was an incredibly good match. And I don't know about you, but I was so made up that neither of them hit the finisher. I don't know why, but I thought that was just a fucking brilliant way. When we see stuff that's normally just finisher spam fest, they protected both the Claymore and the RKO by neither of them getting the hit. They teased it a few times, and neither of them got that finisher in, because they both knew it'd be curtains. I fucking loved it. I really liked the way they did that. Thought it was brilliantly done.
I think we've just become used to fucking Brock Lesnar matches where it's just a spam finisher.
Even Brock.
Like Brock Lesnar,
Goldberg. Years of Roman. Spear, punch, spear, punch, spear, punch. And it's like, and to be honest, even Seth Rollins to a degree. It's like, how many curb stomps or pedigrees, depending on what era Rollins we had, can you get back up from? Like, I love the fact that both of these finishes now are massively protected for me. It's like, because and they even booked it that way. It's like they mentioned a few times, oh, if Randy gets the RKO, that's it. Like everyone knew that was it. Even Drew, because he came out of the ring frustrated that he nearly got caught by the RKO. He knew it was deadly. I love the way they booked it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a really sound choice not to kind of use either finisher. For me, I do think they are overusing the roll up finish or like the quick pin finish quite a bit. But I did like it in this case. The only thing that would have made me like it more is for whatever reason, and I don't know why, they can't sell a fucking pin like as though they actually are being pinned. It looks like they're just lying there for a 3 count. Like the struggle isn't there. Of like I'm trying to kick out of this fucking pin, but you've got me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's that which I feel like it's just missing a bit.
Yeah, it takes that surprise roll up element out of it, doesn't it? When they've just kind of gone, okay, you got me.
Exactly. It's like, he wasn't knocked out or nothing, and he just had a backslide on him, and he just kind of lay there. There wasn't like he's kicking his legs and doing everything he can to get out of it. He lay there for 3. And it was just a bit like, nah, you'd kick out of that, wouldn't you? Because it was a surprise, but you're lying there for 3 seconds. So, yeah, that'd be my only thing. But the match itself, I thought was really, really good.
Sorry, I don't need to start laughing. I've just read one of your notes. It's got me.
So the next highlight of the night, and how bright it was, they were. So we had The Fiend versus Braun, which wasn't actually in our highlights because the match quality itself was not great, which we'll come on to.
Yeah, I don't need to say a lot about the match for me. It's just the fact that it was not a good match. It was... Had we not have had shenanigans, it would be low rate. It would actually probably be a no shite for how rubbish it was. The only thing I was happy with was the result.
Yeah. I think we'll actually come into the match as a no shite because it was that bad. But for this actual the post-match shenanigans, if you like, is we got to see the return of Roman. And even though fucking Michael Cole is the big dog, as he is, and ruining the whole fucking moment, he came back looking like a bit of a badass. So he looks ripped as fuck. He came back with a badass t-shirt. I can't remember what it said. What did it say on it?
Was it... I'm not reckon... I don't know.
Yeah, something that made him seem badass. Anyway.
You carry on with your notes, and I'm going to quickly find out what his shirt said.
So he comes back with a badass shirt, of which slogan is to be confirmed. But he basically attacks the Fiend after the match and beats him down. He looks at Braun on the outside and goes, "You know what? I'm not finished with you." Goes outside and spears the fuck out of Braun as well. But he just looked like a legitimate badass, and I think. I've not been a massive Roman Reigns fan. I don't know whether you have either, Anthony, to be fair, but I felt like I'd missed him.
I'll be honest.
Like a bit of a breath of fresh air.
Right. I think there's a reason for this, right? So what I will do, I will quickly clarify. His new shirt, which I'm sure will be merch soon, was "Wreck everyone and leave," which, cool. I'm cool with that as a shirt. Right? If you'd replaced Roman Reigns with a rated R Edge, it would have played the exact same way. And I think, for me, that's why I loved it so much, because Roman was channeling his Edge. He had that look about him, that attitude about him. He looked confident, he that little bit cocky, and he just owned the Fiend, which is a big thing to do. And it was very... they haven't fully confirmed, and I really hope it's the case, they haven't fully confirmed he's come back as a heel. But for me, everything about him just screamed like awesome heel that you can get behind, because I've never really been against Roman. I've been against the fact that they ram him down our throats as the next big... He's the face of the company. You're going to love him. I don't want to, just because you're telling me to.
You know what?
It's never been against Roman.
I don't actually know whether he is a heel or not, but he's definitely had a change of character. There was no like, hoorah, I'm going to do this with my fist.
And he actually went to the corner. He waited to do a spear. He could have easily done his whole noises, and he didn't. It was all just, he just focused and deliberate and much more badass.
Yeah, he had like a whole new level of intensity, didn't he? He was there. He showed up. He was like, he was cussing them out all the way through. He was chatting shit to the pair of them, battered them. The only thing I would like to say, which was a surprise return of its own, was his fucking teeth, man.
My God.
Have you seen the scene from Friends with Ross where he goes and gets his teeth whitened? Like, if the fucking lights in the Thunderdome would have gone down, like it would have still been illuminated with those fucking gnashes.
Yeah. Should I say groovy Thunderdome? They were, like, he's definitely had his veneers done, guys. Jesus.
Yeah, but my God, they're not good. They're not seamless. They look fucking awful. Like,
They were
awful.
bright.
For his face, they were bright, and the whole shape of them's changed. They're massive. Jesus,
Yeah, it
I'm not a
honestly
fan.
really changes his look, doesn't it? Like, and he've always been like that. He probably wouldn't throw you as much, but it really changed the look of him. And you're like, whoa, that's throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah, like Jesus. But all weird teeth aside, yeah, I was made up to see him back. I was made up to see a different version of him that wasn't so cartoony and forced down your throat. He looks like he's got, whether he's like a heel or what, he's got a lot more intensity about him anyway.
Even you know what, like even though like it's only a simple slogan on a shirt, but even the wreck everyone and leave is much better than the Roman Empire. So it's like, oh, look at the pun, look at the clever
exactly.
pun. Like now, just everything about him was just screamed much more badass. And even if he's just like this tweener type character, I'm fine with it as long as we don't go back to the hokey cartoonish. You're gonna love him because we tell you to love him kind of guy. I'm cool. I'm happy with it.
Well, that's it. Like the whole, you won't see it coming thing. If they're
You
really
did,
going to,
you did, Carl.
well, yeah, I saw that coming. But and I kind of see this coming as well. But I don't think they'll go through with it. But is he going to be the leader of this retribution gang?
Well,
I
to
don't
be
know whether it will
honest,
harm him more than it will fucking help him. To be fair, but
I thought we were going to make that obvious at SummerSlam, and we'll get onto that because that is kind of one of my shites anyway. But
yeah.
I thought that's kind of what was. I thought we'll see him, and then Retribution are going to surround the ring, and then it's going to be revealed that now they're on his side. But we did not get that. But it still could happen. But you never know. Yeah, I was quite surprised.
Yeah. So the big dog, the big fucking whatever. Big teeth guy is back. Then we've got Seth versus Dominic, which I thought was really decent. To be fair, like I've given Dominic some shit, and we both have in terms of the kind of leapfrogging the rest of NXT and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was decent. He was sound. I thought.
I still think it's a fair point. I still think he's there blatantly because of nepotism. But like you say, he put on a really good match with Seth. And what I loved about it for me was the fact that logically Seth was going to win this. Seth's the veteran. He knows more about wrestling. Everyone knows Dominic's a lot greener. But I love the fact that Seth was not using this as an opportunity to beat Dominic. He was using it as an opportunity to goad Ray. So he kept the match going. So there was a proper reason why he didn't just destroy Dominic and win. He wasn't going for the pin because he was trying to taunt Ray, and it then allowed for Dominic to have a longer match without it being like how can Seth Rollins take it to Brock Lesnar in less time than he could take it to Dominic would have been the issue, wouldn't it? But the fact that he didn't want to pin him, he wanted to taunt Ray, made sense. So then the whole match made sense for me then. So I love the way they booked it because it's like we got to see a good showing of Dominic, and he hit some decent stuff. I felt like you can clearly see he's still a bit rusty. He still needs to get some bits honed. Like I don't think his frog splash was on point. His 619 was not as fast paced as his dad's, so you could see it coming a mile off and stuff. But even so, like he had a really good showing in the ring, and the whole way it was booked just made sense for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said there. I think it was definitely one of the better matches of the card. I have got a couple of negatives though. I feel like it was overbooked in the sense of he didn't want his dad there, and then fucking the next minute his dad's walking to the ring and he's like, oh, okay then, well, you are my dad. And then his mum's there as well, and his mum comes out at one point and Seth goes to like try and get his, like, I was like, what? Like, fuck off.
The thing for his mum that kind of got me as well was that she kind of just stayed there. She came out to the top of the ramp and then stayed there.
Exactly, like what did you come out for then, you silly bitch?
And I'm like, what are you going back? Or like that was weird.
You fucking handcuff Ray to the ropes and stuff. I just felt like it was overdone. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
the only thing that would make me not mind it so much, because it seemed like Dominic could have been a bit pissed off for the fact that he didn't want Ray out there and he was out there and he lost. So maybe he will turn on Ray and Ray will fuck off for a bit. I don't know.
For me, it was like, because I feel like the signposting it a bit much as well, because like the announcers were going like, when Ray finally, because he said to Ray, don't get involved, but Ray was there at the ringside. And then when Ray finally got involved, it was when Murphy and Rollins were attacking him. And then the announcers are going, oh, well, you see, that's totally understandable. I mean, you couldn't blame him for doing that. And that to me just meant that these guys are signposting the fact that Dominic's going to be pissed off. That if they do that, if Dominic turns on his dad, they gave it away. Yeah. I really want to be wrong on this. That's why I'm saying if. But then you can't blame the man for doing it. It's like, see, Dominic's going to blame the man. You're just painting that up right now.
Well, that's it. It's classic foreshadowing, isn't it? But not in a good way. Like in like oh, well, you've ruined it now.
Yeah, they just made it too obvious.
And then the only other thing, which is a minor gripe that we spoke about before, but my fucking God, man, just let Eddie fucking rest in peace. Like, Chavo doesn't fucking do this kind of shit. You had him doing the fucking Dominic doing the frog splash as like his fucking homage to him. Rey Mysterio had fucking Eddie Guerrero fucking trainees on. It's like, what the fuck?
The bit that bugs me with it so much is that it feels like Eddie was such a big deal that if we mention him, it'll help us. And I don't think that's a really good thing to do. Like, no. I know they loved him, don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to offer any disrespect to Ray. I know he had a lot of love for the man, they were like family, but it's like, you are a big name in yourself, Ray, so let Dominic rely on your name. But why do either of you have to rely on Eddie's?
Exactly. It doesn't make any, like, it,
you know. With it on that.
And plus, in kayfabe, this is the same guy who tried to fucking get custody of Dominic a couple of years ago.
I know,
why
right?
would he be fucking using the frog splash? Like, what the fuck?
Would you like a fun fact, though, Cal?
Come on.
Rey Mysterio, in his debut match at SummerSlam, also lost. So Dominic has followed in his father's footsteps by losing in his debut match at SummerSlam.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And obviously, we all saw the Seth Rollins outfit was based on WCW version of Rey Mysterio, I believe.
Yes, the purple fucking devil thing it used to have. So yeah, all nicely done. My final highlight, unless you've got any others as well, is the Sasha Asuka match. So I thought this was one of the matches of the night. To be honest, I feel like whenever these two get in the ring together, shenanigans aside, and the fact of the whole Bayley thing, like from an actual in-ring perspective, I thought it was really good.
I totally agree. It was a really, really good match, and I can see that you've got it in the shade, so I won't jump on it. But there's only one issue I had with that match, and I'll let you talk about that. But the match itself, the quality between them two, they can really work well in the ring. In fact, it was embarrassing how bad Bayley's was in comparison for me.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of hers at all, to be honest.
No, it was shit. It doesn't need it. It was shit. It was not very good in the sense of the in-ring work was a much slower paced. It wasn't as risky. It wasn't as fun. This whole can we move into the O'Shites briefly? Because I'm going to mention one.
So onto the O'Shites.
So I'll mention the Bayley thing because this is the bit that I was about to moan about. And I don't know whether it's just me or whether you felt this way. They tried to do this thing in both matches where that Asuka done that whole ass thing where she hits them with her ass, right? And in the Bayley match, Sasha pushed Bayley out the way and she ate that move. So she got knocked off the ring apron by Asuka's ass. And then Asuka just kind of sat on the middle rope for ages because I don't think Bayley was in the right position. Because that was the end of the match. Bayley had to run over and get the roll up and get the win on the back of that distraction that she knocked Sasha off the ring apron. And to me, I felt like that was a botch because I felt like I was watching Asuka just sat there like a goon on the ropes for way too long. And I know in reality it probably wasn't that long, but the fact that I noticed Bayley wasn't there and had to come over to her to get the roll up, I'm like, you should have kicked out of that. That to me felt like a massive botch, and the match for Bayley felt very much like that all around. That it just didn't feel as cohesive between the two of them.
No, and I think as well the thing that annoyed me was that, and to be honest, I think Sasha slightly missed her cue, but she was meant to push Bayley out the way and take and eat the fucking move, wasn't she? Which she was a little bit slow in doing, but it was believable enough. But then they tried to pay it back off in Sasha's match with Bayley, but she just didn't do it. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of felt like, well, is that the point? Like that Sasha was the one who took the fall for you, but you wouldn't do the same for Sasha. I just don't feel like they got that point over.
No, I agree with you. I think that was the point they were definitely trying to make because they put that same move in there, but Bayley saved herself. But I think you're right; they did not get that across very well. No. Plus, I don't know. I mean, they're still going to have to be tag team champions, so I don't know why they're pushing for this now. Like, they need to drop the tag belts before they fall out properly, or it's just going to be kind of awkward.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's been will they, won't they for ages, but
for
me,
haven't
got an answer.
I would have much preferred, and you could have built the heel work from it. I would have much preferred Bayley to lose and Banks to win, and then Bayley could have been annoyed that Banks won, and you could have still worked on the heel stuff. But the match itself was so much better, and I'm so annoyed that Banks didn't win.
I know. Well, it's ridiculous. I think it's something like 5 times now, or something where she's won a title and then lost her first defense straight away.
Yeah, it's insulting for her at this point because she's incredibly good.
You can't even call her a transitional champion at this point. She's a fucking God knows what she is. She's a fucking yo-yo.
Yeah.
So in the next O'Shite, I've got Mandy and Sonya. So what was the plan with this then? So obviously the circumstances in the real world, is she stepping away like just for a little bit? Has she had enough? After the match as well, she seemed to hint that she's going to go with a different name. She's going to go with her own name because she's seen going, "Don't call me that." It's like, what?
So, it might be the hint at how she gets back in. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Sonya Deville had to leave forever. That kind of crap.
See, I hate that kind of stuff because then what would be the explanation of going under a fucking different name? Do you know what I mean?
Well, you don't need to explain it. It's like Hulk Hogan becoming Mr. America. Don't fucking explain it. Just hire a new guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a bit shit, to be honest. The match itself wasn't great. There was some decent spots in there, though. I liked a bit with the there's one table spot I like, and then you can talk about the one you don't. But I liked when Mandy set the table up and was like launching chairs off it, like she was fucking sliding a beer down the bar. Like I quite liked that, and it was like fucking Matrix style from
It's
Sonya.
different, I suppose, actually. Yeah.
So fair play to her. That was quite good.
I really liked the table spot I saw. But not because it was good. But when Mandy first pulled the table out from under the ring, she set the legs up and then couldn't lift it, and it just really tickled me. She kept lifting one side of it and then couldn't flip it up. She didn't. I don't know if she didn't have the arm length or something to fully flip it over. She kept cocking it up, and then she ended up kicking it towards the ring apron, and then was like, "Well, I still need the table," so went back and got it. It tickled me way more than it should have, but it's just really funny little botch.
I feel like she should have rehearsed this a little bit, so she knew exactly what the art of the possible was. But
yeah.
I also want to comment as well. What was up with Mandy's appearance? And I don't mean this in like to be a dick or anything, but she had like proper like greasy slick back hair.
Yeah, she proper slicked it back. Her outfit was different as well.
Her outfit was really weird.
Maybe a new look, but I don't know.
It didn't work for me. Like it looked like she'd been with Otis for too long. She looked like a fucking trailer park hick. So I was really baffled by it. It definitely didn't work for me, but I don't want to be like, shaming or anything like that. But I just,
at the same time though, she's
she's
sort of changing up her appearance, and you do wonder whether are they suggesting that maybe she's going to go for more of that like trailer park kind of thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't fully there, but are they going to slowly make, like, she's spending more time with Otis and becoming more like Otis? She's going to become more blue collar solid kind of thing, or I don't know.
I thought the fucking Caterpillar post match was cringy as fuck as well. That was so bad. That was awful.
No, Mandy, no.
So the next shite, fucking Street Profits and the Mex Girls, man. Like, oh my god, what a waste of time. I'm sick and tired of this little thing. Like, just break them up now. Just have Garza and Andrade go their separate ways. Have Zelina be a manager to one of them or to fucking Aleister Black. I don't even care. Just, I've had enough now.
Why couldn't we get the clean win? That's what I want to know. It had to go down to the fact that Garza couldn't get the pin because Andrade was too concerned with
exactly.
Shit, what's her name? Zelina. It's like, all right, so Street Profits still technically haven't beat us properly. Then just get it done.
Well, that's it. They don't fucking technically beat anyone properly, do they? They had those all fucking shit also, with the Viking Raiders for ages.
Why did Montez Ford give Kevin Owens a lap dance?
I have no idea. Why was Kevin Owens out there?
Because he loves the Street Profits, apparently.
Like,
and he was purely there to go, I've got the Kevin Owens show on Monday because it's popular, and I'm going to have Aleister Black on it. And then we all went, collectively.
Exactly. Like, what a waste, like, of Kevin Owens being out there for
if
that.
you're going to have a Kevin Owens show, have someone worth having on. What's Aleister Black even got to say? He's not in any angles. He's not booked on any. What's he going to come out and say? I love being here.
I'm starting to think now, is he like injured or something? Like, he can't be injured because he's had a match or two, hasn't he? But like,
I'm more curious. You know what? If he'd have had Austin Theories, I guess I'd be more curious because I don't know where the fuck he's been.
Yeah, no idea.
But no, Street Profits, they're still too loud for me. Like, come out to the ring, and I'm like, well, you shut the fuck up for a sec. I don't even know what your theme music is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and, honestly,
yeah.
But I can't stand them.
They've got something. I just think they need to chill a little bit.
Yeah, I've got something to fucking annoying factor. Got that.
I did joke about the entrance music, but did you know, Carl? And I found this out from TikTok's Lou Nonsense, that they have the same theme music as Team Bad.
No, I did not know that.
They've just repurposed Team Bad's music, made some adjustments to it, but essentially, when it goes into the chord, that eeny, meeny, miny, mo, that bit is Team Bad. It's just their song.
All right, interesting.
Fun fact.
Well, it's accurate. They are fucking Team Bad. And then back onto Strowman and Bray. So we mentioned this earlier on when we covered it in the highlights, but the match itself was shit. To So I mentioned to you prior to us recording this, not that it was amazing before this happened, but I feel like that table botch with Fiend proper cracking his back on that announce table proper took the wind and the sails out of the match.
Yeah, and it did look like a botch. It did not look like that was held back or landed properly at all. I think that did hurt him.
Yeah, and I feel like it was all like from that point on, he was trying to catch his breath, and it just didn't seem to happen really. I also thought, what a weird thing! Like, what a weird thing to do to get the fucking Stanley knife out or whatever, and just start tearing at the floor mat to expose the wood.
Yeah,
like, really.
Also, like, this is an example of why I think they booked Braun like a moron, right? It's because he went through the effort of getting a box cutter, right? Cutting up the ring apron just to get to the wood, which is still plyboard at the end of the day, right? When apparently this is a Falls Count Anywhere match and there's concrete all over the fucking place.
Exactly. Like, just lift up one of the mats on the outside. You want to do some damage, not just drop on a bit of wood.
But
yeah.
Anyhow,
I mean,
what as well. I didn't know it was a Falls Count Anywhere match until they said it.
Yeah. What was the point in it being a Falls Count Anywhere match? It didn't fucking go anywhere.
Falls Count Anywhere in this bit here because you're not.
It's like the fucking 24/7 title ruling, isn't it? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, because they were. I think they went very briefly backstage, literally just that little holding area before you come out. Then they came back down the ramp and back in the ring. I think, okay, exactly. Well, Falls did count anywhere then. Great.
Yeah, like what? It was pointless. So the match itself wasn't very good. And then, where was Alexa? So the amount of involvement she's had. Well, the amount of involvement she's had in this whole feud through the fucking, appearance in the Swamp match or whatever it was, through to, every week on SmackDown, she's been involved in some capacity, and she was just fucking nowhere, just left off the card.
And she kind of needed to be here if they're going to book her with the Fiend in any way, they needed something here, because now she was only involved because of Braun, and if she's carries on being involved with the Fiend now, it's a bit like, what was that about? She needed to sort of use SummerSlam to pull away from Braun and be about the Fiend, if you know what I mean. The fact that she weren't involved at all would suggest that they're probably not going to carry on with anything, which would ruin the whole point of it going, like, there's just something fascinating about the Fiend. I just want to stroke his face and stuff. Like, all that kind of bollocks. What was the point?
I honestly feel like they had something like that planned and they dropped it. I feel like Roman was like, yeah, I can come back for SummerSlam. And they were like, okay, well, what we're going to do then, we're going to bin off this stuff with Alexa. We'll make it... I don't even know why they made it Falls Count Anywhere. I was trying to justify that. Fucking no idea for that one. But we'll bin off the stuff with Alexa so that after the match, you can just take them all out and then Alexa won't have to be at ringside, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like she just got shit on, basically, so that Roman could...
Yeah. Possibly. So yeah, that was a bit of a crying shame. That I was intrigued by the whole Alexa thing, and I didn't want it to be Sister Abigail, but I was intrigued. And yeah, they've just seemed to have completely abandoned it. If they try and go back on it at this week's SmackDown, I'd be a bit annoyed, because like, you can't just totally ignore something at SummerSlam and then try and carry on with it. Like certain other angles as well.
And then yeah, the final one is where we're Retribution. So all this shit every week, messing with the lights, smashing windows, setting stuff on fire, beating people up, changing things on screen. SummerSlam, you won't see it coming. You won't fucking see him at all. Where were they?
Yeah, went off like a hitch, didn't it?
The fuck?
Just a bunch of fannies, aren't they? Didn't want to mess with the biggest pay-per-view, or one of the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Like,
exactly.
Don't worry, we'll mess around with Payback. We're not going to mess SummerSlam up. Oh no.
Like, yeah, it just like
you've been amping it up all week as well.
I do literally
all over both shows. Like, how is this not a thing?
It's like we were saying in the news thing. I legitimately don't think that anyone knew that Roman was coming back, and I feel like they've just been pressing ahead with what the plans are going to be, and then probably the day of or the day before they went, well, we're going to bring Roman back, so it doesn't make sense to have Retribution there, and it doesn't make sense to have Alexa.
I would have popped if Roman come back, attack the Fiend. Braun's still rocking about, so you could have included Braun. Retribution surround the ring, and everyone's like, oh, the three of them are going to have to try and fight off Retribution, and then Roman sides with them. I'd have been like, yeah, I'd have popped for that massively. So they could have still done something with it for me. But
I mean, you could have even added the reverse way. You could have added so after the match, Retribution turn up and they're about to batter them all. Roman makes his return. Oh my God, the big dog is back! Gets in the ring, takes out both Braun and Bray.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Retribution get in the ring and stand with him or something.
Yeah, because that would have added to the shock in some sense, because you get the almost predictable Retribution turning up, and then the shock of Roman. But yeah, there's just no Retribution at all, which is, again, for how much they amped it up all week, you think they would have done something. They didn't even have anything in terms of the lights dipping, the mic's not working, anything.
Exactly.
They had nothing at all. It was perfect, perfectly executed with no interruptions or issues at all. So the Retribution had the night off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, you know, for a faction who is already looking like a bit of a fucking joke, just really helps cement them going forward, doesn't it?
Oh, one of the not really an O-shite or a highlight, but what did you make of Bayley getting a broom out like she was almost imitating Omega's cleaner gimmick?
I saw some stuff about this, and I never really made any parallels to it. But if that's the case, then like fucking hell, whatever. You're like, Bayley at the end of the day.
That's the thing. It was kind of pointless, but I was just intrigued because I was like, yeah, I can see where they're getting that connection because he's pretty much the only wrestler I know of who come out sweeping the floor. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so for me, I would say, taking everything into account, I'm giving it 3.5 SummerSlam. For one of the big four, I don't think it was incredible, but that being said, it was still one of the better shows of the week. It was better than TakeOver, and it was on par with Dynamite for me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think it was on par with Dynamite. I can't really. I have to land on 3.5 with you. I can't put it at the same as NXT or whatever. I can't put it above Dynamite, so it's gonna have to be a 3.5 because it was on par. It wasn't better. In some respects, it was worse, but not significantly worse. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was definitely up there with it. So I'd give it a 3.5 as well. Awesome. So that was This Week in Wrestling, guys. We've obviously had our extended one, the pay-per-views as they were. Next week we're gonna get Payback, which 1 week later, so it's probably going to be fucking thrown together. I don't think anything's booked already. Oh no, we do have a tag match for the women's tag team titles. Apologies for that. Yeah. Forgot about that. But yeah, so we'll have another fun week of an extended This Week in Wrestling, and then the week after, when we've no more pay-per-views, unless are we all out at that point?
Who knows?
Fuck knows. At some point, guys, we are going to do our next unique segment, which will be, when I can get there, we're looking at the best and worst gimmick matches of all time, which I think will be a fun one to discuss. So as soon as we get the pay-per-views out of the way, guys, that is going to be our next unique segment to discuss. All in all, it's been another fantastically fun-filled week for Hate of the Cage Wrestle Talk podcast. We thank you all for listening. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Same time, same place, probably. So we'll see you all again, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Well, hello, Carl and Anthony. Hey, it's the hardcore legend, Mick Foley, saying hello. What a beautiful afternoon it is. Wow, gorgeous May afternoon. There's a view of the river at the Foley compound. Just want to say hello to you guys and let you know that I'm looking forward to listening to you on A to the K, the podcast. I am not yet exposed to much in the world of podcasting, but I think I'm going to start. I hear great things about you guys. I appreciate you being fans. I'm going to go out on a limb and just guess that you guys are big wrestling fans. So I'm going to thank you for your support over the years. Have a nice day.